WWE Raw. Roman Reigns returns last night. I'm going to pop some notes out. I want to break down some of this. The show opened with Rhea Ripley, and she basically calling out Asuka and Kairi Sane. And at this point, Rhea's fired up. Io Sky comes out. And I have to say, this is where it was interesting to me. When I see Io Sky cutting a promo and she's still torn. All right. I like the layers of this storyline where it's not just, okay, the heck with Asuka. I'm with Team Rhea now. Io's conflicted because of all the years. And then we see the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka still willing to give Io a chance, but not Rhea. It's too late for her. Rhea says you can go to hell. And what struck me as interesting here before they come out and they brawl was we talked about this in an earlier segment, but, Vince McMahon leaving. How many times can you remember this many people speaking in broken English in a promo? Like, this is where it really sticks out. And this is over. Like, people are loving this right now.
Well, not only them, but obviously Stephanie Vaquer. You have a lot of people right now that are being given a chance, which is fantastic and always is. I love the fact that they said, hey, listen, we still want you to be part of our family. All you have to do is apologize for making me hit you.
Yes.
That's literally the definition of an abusive relationship. Why do you make me hit you?
And all you have to do is Kylie Sane is clearly being gaslighted by Asuka. And Kylie, after this, they come to the ring and they attack Ripley. Io leaves and Io comes back to help Rhea, but she pulls them off and then Asuka displays the miss in Sky's eyes without even thinking about it. But Sane is still conflicted. She doesn't want to attack Io Sky. She's okay with Ripley apparently, but not Sky. She wants them to be a family again. Not going to happen, it looks like. We go on to the next segment. First match, Rusev versus Dominic Mysterio. Interesting matchup. They're both kind of heels, but what I thought was fascinating by this was, besides the fact that I did like the big man and the little man thing, was the more Dom was able to come back in this match and the more he cheated, the more he got cheered.
He's starting to get that Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal heat. He's not getting booed anymore. If you notice, when he goes to do an interview segment, they're not booing to the point where he can't speak anymore. They've changed completely.
I literally have in my notes, Dom lies, cheats, and steals his way to victory in this. He basically throws the chair back to Rusev at Eddie Guerrero's spot. Referee catches him, so he's not doing it like Eddie. But then he grabs the referee, so the ref can't see, low blows Rusev, pulls the tights. The crowd goes crazy for Dom.
But once again, that's something Eddie has done. If you look back, you'll see matches where it looks like he's getting caught with the chair and he uses either the back heel for the blow. I really like where this is going. Dominic has developed tremendously, and I think he's then going to end up being a huge babyface.
We see some promo packages to pump up the Crown Jewel event between Cody and Seth. We look at the history. One interesting to note there, Cody does say, I had to leave WWE to find myself and become a different person. I needed to do that 6 years ago, and that's why I am where I'm at. I think that's another thing. Would that have made the cut if Vince was still around? Probably not. We go to Lyra Valkyria. She says no more second chances to Bayley after Bayley shoved on her butt. Bayley looks like she doesn't remember what happened. We go to Raquel versus Bayley. Raquel actually gets the win with the help of Roxanne raking Bayley's eyes. Lyra comes out to help, much like we saw earlier with the women's segment. She seems conflicted, but does help. And then she gets outnumbered, but Bayley comes back aggressive again, lays out Raquel and Roxanne, and then aggressively picks up Lyra, says, come on, we go. Who's got this? We won. And again, in the women, we're seeing more complex storylines. And I got to say, kind of the highlight of the show so far.
I think the women are the better storylines on Raw thus far, and that might be the trend for the night.
LA Knight was in the back talking to Pierce. He gets interrupted by the New Day. Kingston explains to LA Knight he's never been a world champion. I've been a world champion, something you're not. LA Knight says, well, that's something you're probably never going to be. Both guys are not wrong here, probably. At the end of the day, we have a match. LA Knight wins. I enjoyed it. They're keeping LA Knight relevant, but AJ, I'll ask you, gun to your head, is LA Knight going to be a WWE World Champion, you think, at this point in his career?
Absolutely not. I don't think there's a chance of him. I mean, there's always a chance, but I don't think there's a very good chance of him becoming a world's champion. And I think that upsets a lot of people because a lot of people really like him.
Yeah, I agree. Super popular. Never count him out. But right now, it just doesn't seem like there's so many stacked people who are younger right now and equally popular that I just don't think it's going to be his time. Sky and Rhea are backstage talking. Earlier in the night, too, I didn't talk about this, but Sane had approached Sky again about we can still be a family. And she left this picture of Sky Sane and Asuka when they were all younger, possibly even in Stardom, but at the end of the day, Sky says no more. They're not my family. And she says, you can trust me, Rhea. When Rhea asks if you could, can I trust you? Sky says, you can trust me. I got this. I want to say actually she can, but that's totally a no-no. When you say you can trust me, you usually can't. Again, interesting storyline by the women.
There is no bigger red flag in professional wrestling than one person saying to another, you can trust me. That usually ends in something horrible.
We then go on to Dragon Lee and AJ Styles in the ring together. Dragon Lee talks about his upcoming match with Dom Mysterio for the AAA Mega title, and AJ wants to thank the fans because now he has a match with John Cena, and he can do something he loves to do, and that's beat up John Cena.
Who doesn't?
So that's pretty cool. This leads to a match with Los Americanos now, which is Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne under mask with El Grande Americano. And I believe they're now being called Bravo and Rio. It was a fun match. Obviously, both guys under the mask are very capable, and actually super capable when you think they're wrestling opposite of the style they usually wrestle. But at the end, I really did like this time combination of Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. They used Dragon Lee did a backdrop into AJ doing a Styles clash. Pretty cool. Great teamwork here. Looking forward to AJ Styles and John Cena, but does AJ beat John Cena at Crown Jewel?
There's no way in hell AJ's going over John Cena after the beating he just took from Brock Lesnar. But I also would like to point out that you are being grossly negligent in referring to Los Americanos as Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. There is no proof whatsoever as to them being those people, and I think it's a shame.
Continue it on with this show. Stephanie McCurry was backstage. She was interviewing, again, another broken English promo. Crowd loves her, and Tiffany Stratton interferes, and they're getting hyped up for Crown Jewel. Seth Rollins. Oh, you know what I did not put down here, I overlooked, was Becky Lynch actually beat up Maxine Dupree in the back and Cesaro, because why not? You got to beat them both up, right?
In fairness, she cheap shot at both of them.
She did. But anyway, in the main event, we see the Usos versus our favorite team, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Great matchup, really physical. But the big story here was it was no DQ. So as Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are getting the upper hand, Roman Reigns returns, helps his team, his family get the win. He's beating up Bronson Reed and he's beating up Braun Breaker with a chair. Jey Uso gets the spear splash pin. But what's interesting is if we look at the photo I've had up this whole time, Jimmy Uso kind of looks like the odd man out here. Is it just me?
It is not just you. He is the odd man out. And I think that this is going to go somewhere with this. I would like to ask you a question. What was the main event of Raw last week?
Last week, the main event of Raw.
I'm pretty sure it was a tag match with Bronson Reed and the dog-faced gremlin, Braun Breaker versus Jimmy and LA Knight.
Right. And so that's been a thing of contention, the fact that Jimmy's had LA Knight's back.
What was the main event the week before?
I don't remember.
It was Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker versus a forced Jey Uso and LA Knight. So 3 weeks in a row, we've sat through different versions of this tag match. But no, Raw's not getting old and stale at all.
I think a lot of people didn't like this Raw that I talked to, but mostly I think it had to do with the women's segments. That being said, Roman Reigns being back was a big deal to a lot of people too. But I know where you're getting with this. Something has to be changed in the Uso dynamic and everything. Now, I'll ask you this though. Is the vision stale?
I think the vision is stale, primarily because they're not actually a group. A lot of times you'll see Braun Breaker and you'll see Bronson Reed come out, and they come out with Paul. And then later in the show, you'll see Seth Rollins come out with Paul, and then you'll see Paul come out with Paul. Yeah. But very seldom do they actually work as a group. And what in the hell is going on with Brock Lesnar?
That is interesting, and that may affect the vision as we go on. Brock Lesnar is a beast.